we go. Indeed. And greetings unto you, beloved and holy friend. Thank you for joining me again. I feel today is definitely going to be a quiet stream. At least that's how I'm feeling at the start of it, right? Sometimes the energy changes. Usually the energy changes. Top of the morning, Mel. PK. Hello. Thank you for joining me. Sorvina, what a surprise seeing your comment first today. It's nice to have you here. Yadi to you. How are you doing? How's life treating you? How how have you been regarding the point of it all? I feel that's the thing I want to talk about today is the point of it, right? We as human beings ask that question a lot. What's the point? Get to the point to something. And I want to talk about how, on the most fundamental level, you are the point. That there's no separating from the work you're here to do, the experience you're here to have, and the experience you will have. I had this, call it meditation, call it a vision, call it a dream, where I was trying to articulate to myself what the point was, of the current exercise, of the meditation, just, I don't know, what the point was in general. And I was going through this mindset of trying to visualize a story, an application, a fractal, a way of seeing. It was like an amalgamation of ideas kind of melted together. And all of these amalgamations of ideas kind of consolidated on this view of a road, of a path, of a trail to be followed. And it goes on for infinity. It never stops. It just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. And I was walking on this path, and I was trying to think to myself, again, what's the point? And when I asked it that time, second time, the point was where I was standing. That this infinite path of games, of applications, of fractals, of experiences is ceaseless. And there's no point to it other than you as the point of it, right? Your experience, you in this moment, you on the road. If you want to think of it from a mathematical perspective, you're literally a point in infinity. I don't know if I can give this to you, but it's essentially this understanding that your life, whatever it is you're going through, wherever it is you are, is the point. There's nothing to escape, there's nothing to run away from. There only is. Maybe we'll just be nice and melty. Joy V, it's so nice to see you here with me too. Shannon again. I was literally like, I guess it's almost time for Melty. Looked at the time and spotted the Discord notification and managed to get here first. I'm so happy that you did. Thank you, Savina, for speaking some time here. Spending some time here. Mel spoke to me through the infinity. Always do, right? Like we're all in the same infinity at the exact same moment, right? That point, the point I'm talking about, we're all standing in it. Every single one of us are collectively in that point, that we are as a collective the point as well to this larger infinity, to this larger cycle, to this larger path that we're on as a collective humanity. Points within points within points. But the Big Bang, right, before it exploded, was but a single point in existence. Dimensionless. Dimensionless. What does that even mean? A point is dimensionless. I didn't even think about that as a tangent to go on, but maybe we should. That if you are the point, realizing that this point is dimensionless, and whatever the dimension is you find yourself in right now is something instead of nothing, is dimension within the dimensionless. Or maybe you're the dimensionless within dimension. Embodiment. I've been tripping out about my hands of late. Watching things that have been playing with my mind a bit. Specifically, I don't know if I watched this, but it came to me in a stream. We were talking about telling yourself stories of negativity and the frequencies that we practice in doing so. And we kind of touched on tuning into radios. That was one cool fractal to kind of see it through. But the one that really stuck with me is this feeling of limitation, or maybe more encapsulation. Katie, thank you. Cindy, you loved your friend. Encapsulation of your mind, your point, right? Let's say point, since we're on that fractal today. That you are this point in the middle of infinity. And then you can get caught in some sort of mindset, in some sort of story, victimhood, deceit, betrayal, anger, resentment, disgust, right? And then instead of having this broad spectrum, this infinity, if you will, to kind of fly through, you lock yourself, you encapsulate yourself in this mindset. And then your point, the point that you are, is knocking itself dizziness. I don't know if dizziness is a word in English. Just knocking itself into, a concussion against this encapsulation you've built around yourself. That even in that, even in the smallest little loop you can put yourself in, you are still the point. Right? It's like trying to take a hoop, like a hula hoop, and throwing it over an infinite ocean. Water goes in every direction for infinity. Throwing it over this infinite ocean, looking at that little circle and being like, this here is the ocean, the entire ocean, right? And I can only look for the ocean in this little circle. Maybe I'll look here, maybe I'll look there, but you cannot escape. You cannot look a little bit broader. So I hope that kind of translates as well with today's talk, is seeing yourself as the point, as the dimensionless, makes you realize that dimension in and of itself, the infinite nature, let's say rather, of the dimension we find ourselves in right now. Is a blessing? Is that the word I want to use? Is a freedom. Maybe that's the better one. You speak the truth, my friend. Continue to be a light worker and bring forth people into a different perspective. Katie, thank you, dear friend, for the Pearl Tip gift card and the 500 likes that you're sharing. Eternal blessings to you too. Thank you. Doing the same thing, right? It's gonna take all of us. I feel like that's the thing we have to remember as well, is that even though, yes, you, dear Katie, are the point of infinity, the point at which the infinity intersects itself, the point at which space and time melts together. You are here and now. There's also all the rest of us. Right? Like points on a net, lines intersecting. And every single time we intersect this line, a point arises. And that point just happens to be us. Flow into your experience. Try not to control. I'm trying to be present with it. Thank you, Katie. I'm trying to be as present as possible. I do feel like I'm a little bit more low energy. Maybe not even low energy, just a little bit more contemplative. Usually I try to be a little bit more happy-go-lucky, but we're here for it. Invited 45,369 fans at this broadcast. That is an absurd number of people. Sending you love. Thank you for being willing to invite all of your friends. Tunic, it's nice to have you here too. Christian Lillians, first time watching. Love you, friend. It's nice to have you here. I have 447 gold bars. Of course you do. You're level 7 as well right now. Just for some added synchronicity. I love you. Point me to the light. That's some nice water. Hello, you now, friends. Thank you. Dear Shan for sending love there as well. JV on the YouTube. Jovan too. Thank you for joining us, friends. I'll read something we're saying. Let's see if there's something specifically the universe wants to hear. I am the one who chooses the effects that I experience. I alone interpret all neutral relationships or experiences. I alone place value upon objects, things, thoughts, and belief systems. I alone am the literal creator of my moment-to-moment experience. The literal creator of your moment-to-moment experience. That you being here is the point in that way, right? That you being a point of view, a point of perspective, piercing into this infinite experience is the point. That if you weren't here in this moment right now, there would be no here, no moment right now. You know, and it's absurd. It's a little bit absurd because at the same time, it's the opposite, right? Where you also know that you are something so infinitely small in the grand scheme of things. That even though you're maybe small in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't make you less. In fact, it makes you a point. You know? It's a trip. It's a trip. Like you can zoom out, right? If you zoom out far enough, the earth, the entire earth and every single person on it right now becomes but a point in your field of vision, right? And then you can zoom out far enough and our sun becomes but a point in your field of vision. And then we can zoom out far enough and our galaxy becomes but a point in your field of vision. Zoom out far enough and the entire conceivable, observable universe curving onto itself, stepping out of the three-dimensional space is but a point in your field of vision, right? And you are creating that point. You are the other side of that point. You are the intersection that that point brings. It's a trip. It's paradoxical in nature as well. And I wonder. I really wonder how we as a collective society, we as humanity right now, are going to come back to that understanding. Me and my friends have been talking a lot these days about friends, about worrying about friends specifically, about this experience of getting lost. Maybe not even getting lost, letting go even, right? It's a rough experience coming out of university sometimes. And a lot of my friends who finished their studies were kind of decimated by the state of the world, the way the world treated them, how they felt like nothing. You know, and it's importance that we lack these days. How do you explain to someone that their life is the point? How do you give that information to someone in a way where they can assimilate it and make a change? see from a different vantage point. I shared with Johan maybe 2 days, 3 days ago now. I shared with him this understanding that I've been trying to practice to, instead of seeking a relationship, seeking a feminine partner, realizing that the feminine partner is everything, right? Like my cup, the water in my cup, the pen, even my physical body is the feminine. And that all I am as an observer, as the thing paying attention, is the masculine. And this is a personal perspective. I must say, this is the way it is. I think of it as this perspective that the observer is the masculine and the feminine is the dance. You know, the beauty, the expression, the thing that the observer wants to see in a way. And I've been asking myself a question for a long time. Why is it I have such a capacity to love others? You know, why is it I have such a capacity to love romantically, but I don't love myself in the same way? Why is there a separation between the amount of romance I can have in my life, depending on it being a relationship or, again, maybe a point of focus, right? A certain person. And the other side of it, realizing that I'm that same point that I'm trying to love. That there is no other point. You're still loving the same point, inevitably. And you're just trying to get better at getting to the point, right? In so many words. It's a little bit of a trip. Seeing everything as a divine feminine, yourself as the observer, as the masculine. And I don't know if this translates so well for our feminine friends watching right now. I believe that even the observer part of you is masculine as well. And it's not about having a peen or a vagine. It's more about polarity, if anything, right? Just the ebb and flow, the negative polarity and the positive polarity. If it wasn't for these polarities, electrons wouldn't flow, right? Things powering our devices would just cease to exist. And how can I see that point a little bit more clearly? It's like a point I've reached an understanding within myself that there is a certain amount of love that I can have just for my environment. The way I drink my water, the food I eat, the friends I spend time with, the places I find myself in. How can I be a better lover to Mother Nature? Is the question that I ask myself as well. You know, and it goes deep. It goes into the whole trip of, you know, being ecologically friendly, right? And you can think of that as a hoax as well. That we as individuals have been convinced that we're the problem. That if only you stopped, you know, doing things, if only you stopped driving your car, if only you stopped heating your home, then surely the world will suddenly be a better place. Blame shifting, all of the nonsense that has happened up to this point. It's a little bit absurd. It's a little bit absurd sometimes. Me and Christian have been having this conversation about the environment and wanting to do more for the environment. And this trip, this joke of people only care for the environment right now if it's convenient to, right? If it's convenient to care for the environment, like, oh, look at this, the product I always buy that comes in single-use plastic now comes in paper. Like, I'm being good for the environment, this is convenient, right? And he was stripping out. He was like worried, he was feeling bad about him not contributing enough, not doing enough to help the environment. And the only thing that I could say to him in that moment is that instead of thinking of yourself as evil, as lacking because you're not doing enough, realize that again, the point isn't to do more, but actually to do less when it comes to the amount we consume these days. That is the best way to be ecologically friendly. is to just consume less, right? Consume as much as you need to. Don't overconsume. Don't hoard resources. It's unfortunate because we find ourselves in a time where it's almost impossible to not, right? Like there's so much fear perpetuated in our mind. The point is love. I'm gonna write love on the inside. Point and love is the two intentions. We've been convinced so of fear, so much worry that we're not gonna be okay, that there's gonna be more economic crashes, there's gonna be more, pandemics, there's gonna be these devastations when it comes to our world and climate change, that we're supposed to live in a state of fear to the point where we're trying to hoard everything, trying to keep things for ourselves, trying to survive, right? Just trying to survive instead of being allowed to live. You're surviving again. And Johan shared this beautiful thing with me either last night or this morning, where he mentioned that we've won. We won as humans. We did all the things. We conquered. We have the technology. We have enough food on the planet. We have more than enough space to house everyone. We have all of these things. We've won. We've actually won. And now for some reason, we're still fighting. What is it we're fighting against right now? What's the point of the fighting, if you will? What are we fighting for? Who are we fighting? Why do we fight ourselves? He shared this beautiful perspective last night with me as well about the way we see ourselves as human beings, right? The way we see ourselves specifically in the context of infinity, or let's just say intergalactically. That if we did figure out how to build spaceships that can take us interstellar, maybe just gives us access to our entire galaxy, that would already be a feat. Do we want to meet the aliens as we are right now? Right? Trying to see ourselves from an alien's perspective, where they're like, these beings literally kill one another. They're the same species. They look the same. They make sounds the same. They listen to music and dance. They love and they create. They have hope. But at the same time, they kill one another for not being the exact same as the other. It's a weird dichotomy. And I honestly believe that we're supposed to mature as a society, as a species, over the next few years. That if we don't, the end is inevitable. Hey,
It sounds so quiet today.
I'm feeling pretty quiet today. I'm feeling grounded even. I think the food helped. I ate something. I feel very grounded. Computer is still going. It's 90 something right now.
93.
It's getting there. You want to join me?
Sure.
And turn the fan off. I'm thinking deeply, Christian. That nap I took kind of messed with me. I mean, it's more a meditation, really, but
I'm hitting a chillaxed slot there.
yeah, same. Come sit with me, relax, be calm. We're not gonna stress ourselves. Thank you for the 400 likes, Shannon. I appreciate your love, dear friend. We're talking about the point of all of this, Christian.
Woo!
And specifically me trying to share the understanding that you are in fact the point of all of this. You. That you are the intersection point between space and time, Christian. Right? That you can go throughout infinity and ask yourself, what's the point of this infinity? And then realize you are the point on that infinity. So I have point, the point, and love on this joint. Let's see. I think I missed a few comments here. Sam, this is my friends, Joy and Joe, and Serena. Happy Sunday, loves. It's nice to have you here too, Sam. How are you doing, friend? How's life treating you?
Hello.
I'm doing well. I like the way you worded it in the past. Something along the lines of your consumption is your vote. It's not technically mine. It's it's another artist, another creator on YouTube called Nathan something, I think. Thank you. But I agree. So that quote was basically that you vote every single day. You vote 3 times a day, or let's say you eat 2 meals a day, you eat 3 meals a day. You vote 3 times a day, right? With your body, with your choices, with the things you show up for. And it's like you're the point again, right? So you're the one creating that experience. Voting consciously with every single decision, of every word you say to someone, of every thought you think even. It can be a lot of responsibility, being aware of what you're supporting with our consumption. It's odd that since our earliest existence, our homes have gotten bigger, warmer, our reach and social constructs have grown bigger, and we care for our homes and our property, but still can't go global. It's still separation. Nice one. You want to read some of my manifestations? I've forgotten all of them. None of them are in my brain anymore, dude. They're living in those pages. Does that happen for you too?
All the time. Just so you write things down. Some sort of record of what was going on.
This was when I took 2 drops. I believe it's important to write things down sometimes, just to show yourself.
Journaling is incredibly therapeutic.
And I feel beyond the therapy.
To see yourself growth.
Yeah, that's
More than anything. I look back at this journal that I have. It's more like a diary than a journal. But it basically captures, like, since I was 14 years old, I'd write in it like, what, once a year, maybe twice a year, max. And most of the time it has to do with girls. The funniest thing is seeing the transition of the ages of it, like being all about girls, or shit that I might be going through at the time. And eventually you can just see the impatience just in the language itself. And all the frustration, all the anger. Then it's slowly starting to calm down as we progress further into old age.
So homes, like, it's making me think of this feeling, this interpretation that
What's the topic for today? Deep thinking.
The point.
The point.
yeah, what's the point? Where's the point? Get to the point, etc., etc. And I'm thinking, like, one of the points I want to make, to stay on the tangent about the whole journaling thing, is that it's also a way for you to show yourself how to think. All right, where sometimes we can have so much going on inside our minds, the ceaseless barrage of information, that when you sit down and write something, it's almost like you have to think differently. You have to think about how you think, and then you have to write that down.
Put meaning to your thoughts. Try to translate them into text. Something that's readable by humanity, not just yourself. How are people supposed to understand you if you cannot understand yourself?
How are people supposed to get your point?
Do you think your parents understand you better than you do yourself?
No.
Do you think
like,
they ever did
I've
at
had
a certain age?
I've had this conversation with my parents, actually, like my mom specifically, where I told her, I don't know if you know me,
Mm.
right? Like I know that you're my mom and I'm your son and we can have conversations. Usually conversations about my dad, bro. That's most of the conversations of my mom
Man,
is talking about my dad.
hackers, my dude.
Exactly, dude. And then it's this experience of where's our relationship? You know, it's like a relationship built on animosity instead of a relationship built on personal, noticing of one another. And like with you, I feel you know me better than my parents do, right? And it can definitely be a part of you that's open to knowing, right? You're willing to explore the points that I'm going through, or it can be that you have experienced more of the points that I've been through, and because of that, you have more insight than they would.
That's also another difficult topic. The question is, what is more valuable, the time you spend with the person or how you spend that time with the person? So
What do you
is it
think?
is it just a measurement of
Like
hours
units, yeah,
passed?
units, hours, or like is there a dopamine enjoyment thing?
Even if you spend those hours yelling and screaming at each other, you're going, I fucking hate you.
So it's beautiful you say that because in like David Data's book, he mentioned that a feminine partner, if you are being cold slash unreceptive slash unenthusiastic in the relationship, she will piss you off
Mm.
to get anything, to get a reaction, to get
Acknowledgement.
a acknowledgement, a screaming at each other. Like that is still better than nothing.
I mean, I've had a majority of my childhood wasn't, I didn't have the greatest relationship with my dad, partly because he moved to South Africa and I stayed in Bulgaria. And uh, 2 years, a year, not too long, but that's like important from age 1 to 6. And afterwards, it was him being an incredibly harsh Eastern European father. You know, it's like you will think this way, you will do these things, you will act a certain way, you will react a certain way, you will acknowledge these philosophies that I'm teaching on you, blah 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 blah. This is how A, B, and C. Here are your blueprints and instructions as to how you're gonna grow up and who you're gonna be one day. Follow that shit. And I was not very good at that. I didn't conform too well to that. Or rather, I did on a frontal sense. Externally, you know, did the dance. I danced and pranced to the silly track.
Part, yeah.
Dancing, dancing, look at me, daddy, I'm doing what you told me to. And inside, I'm like, I don't know what I want to do, but this is definitely not it.
I'm definitely stuck on this point, and that's just how these streams tend to be. But I feel like it really is this point of perspective, this point that they think life is about,
Yeah.
right? Like this is the point of life.
So
and
for
you
us,
should be doing it.
for us, it was a survival mechanism, right? It was all about ensuring maximum survival for your child, and these are the steps to fully achieve that at 100%
Yeah.
within your ability. And if you stray from any of these bullet points, your chance of survival decreases.
You're missing the point.
You are now less likely to what they think in their lives as succeed.
Put it down.
And that's difficult. It's scary for them. Because they're like, shit, I'm failing as a parent. I'm missing the point as a parent. I'm supposed to be fulfilling these bullet points I have for myself to teach these bullet points to my children so that we can continue this process of surviving and recreating, reshaping.
Perpetuating.
I, for one, I have this idea of competition in my mind when it comes to life, because that's what evolution is. It's the weaker genomes die out, the stronger genomes continue through reproduction, through whatever the hell other means. I don't really care what it is, but they continue on forwards, whereas the older genomes die, weaker genomes die out and disappear.
Things are necessary and they get expressed.
Exactly, and I'm a very practical person. You know, when biology is reflecting a certain thing, I mean, we come from that shit. I have to somehow associate myself with those processes. I have to believe that, and this is all old news brainwashing that I've been through already, but this is what I was going through at the time. Um, 2 years back, 3 years back, not that long ago, I was like, I need to find a wife and I need to reproduce. I need to have at least one child on this planet, and then my job is Gucci. If I've succeeded in that, if I'm lucky enough, maybe I get to see their grandchildren.
You fulfilled your point.
But my point is, I cannot make that kid now go
yeah.
pump and reproduce. That is
That's
something
that's
my
just-
parents did not learn. They thought they can control the child and say, okay, you go now, pump.
You do the thing.
You do the thing. That's what I was raised with. Those were the blueprints and expectations. But they never forced me. You know, they did it in a sort of even worse way, where they were like, you know, I think we would really enjoy it if you had children. I was like, oh fuck, man, you have to go and pull that card on me, bruh. After being such great parents your
Yeah,
whole freaking
and
life,
You want to
loving
you want to
me,
make
caring
them
for
proud.
me, I want to make you proud, I want to make you happy, I want to return all that you have done for me.
Mm.
No, it would be very nice if you had children as well, so we could have grandkids. And I'm like, but my sister has children, and I we might be.
Weirdly enough, my grandma for the first time ever sent a message to me, being like, "I wil ook oma groetjes is.
Oh.
I want to be great grandma."
Ish.
And I'm like, "Oma, I'm probably not your man anytime soon. My cousin is married now."
This is what freaks me out about my grandma as well, bro. She wants to see me get married. I'm like, Grandma, I don't think I can do that right now. I don't think I'm in the position in life. I have tried, you know, I really have, but luck just isn't on my side currently. And she's like, oh, it's okay, it'll happen one day. And I'm like breaking inside. I want to make it a reality for you, Granny, I swear. You can just see the hurt in their face, bro.
Probably more concerned than hurt, though.
I don't want them to be concerned, dude. It's like a shameful thing because we have this in our family. Well, maybe this is my own perception, shit. But it is used as examples.
Sure.
Where I have like a cousin, sort of cousin, older cousin, much older cousin. He's like 50 something now. And he lives with his dad, his old ass granddad. Fucking 90 almost at this point, probably. Or 85, whatever. I'm very bad with the ages. And he's used as an example. It's like, what, do you want to end up like Pippi? I'm like, no, I don't really want to end up like Pippi. And already, like, it was just my own thoughts that were starting to reinforce themselves of like, I actually don't want to live that way. I want to live a different way. I don't know if that's me or if that's my parents like manipulating what I'm gonna think.
What is the social norm, dude? Like, and I've been thinking, like, ever since I watched this Kurtz's video, where they really put into context in a visual medium how much time you get to spend with your parents in your life, right? And how much time they get to spend with you. It's like an arc that goes like, and then it goes, where you spend 80% of the time you will ever spend with your family up until your 20s. And then the rest of the 20% comes after that, dude. So it has changed my perspective on spending time with my family so radically. You know, and I feel I acknowledge you in that,
I'm
Holmes.
extremely attached to my dad.
I was about to say, he goes to his dad like weekly, if not bi-weekly. Like he makes plans to get to him every Saturday. You know, I think we've only in all of the time I've been here, I think we've only missed like 3 weekends total. It's admirable, Holmes. You love your dad. You're spending that time, you're getting it in, dude.
As much as I can.
Mm.
And that's just who I am. I'm not expecting others to do that sort of shit.
No?
People have different relationships with their parents, different expectations and I don't know,
Pride.
rituals, I guess.
I feel pride is a big one, dude. For some reason, we're somehow attached to pride when it comes to sending messages or reaching out or kind of like giving time.
It's another bloody reason why I need to move overseas. Is I need to start easing myself out of that process. You know, getting used to the fact that I'm not always going to be able to spend time with my dad. You know.
Less and less, dude. Even
So it's not just for me. I know I have to teach him as well that he's got to start
getting used to it.
expecting less
Mm.
of me around.
Well, at least you're going to be, staying with him for a while before you leave, dude.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be nice as well. Do you get along on a day-to-day vibe?
Yeah, well, yeah, I would say so. It's been a lot less fighting in recent times, a lot less than it used to be when I was younger.
You don't really disagree with each other in a verbal way. Like you don't really approach one another. I've noticed with a agenda, right? Like you're not like being like I'm gonna tell my dad something. And I feel like it's a weird dynamic in my relationship with my dad where there very much is this clashing of ideas ceaselessly, and it always spirals out of control. What was your agreements with your father when there were ones? Was it just behavioral problems?
It was hardly ever about philosophies. I guess it was more to do with me just failing at shit. Like school marks, for example. Or math sums. He drew me on math sums. I used to get so angry with him when it came to math. I would dread it. I would deeply be terrified of it.
Just having him loom over your shoulder.
Yeah, dude. It was an actual, like, shaky fear. Like, I know that sounds pussy as
No,
shit.
I feel that completely. I'm like experiencing it with you right now.
But he'd give me this math sum, and I'd be too panicked to get it wrong to even think about the math sum. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's just like
Your body is like in
crippling
a
me.
survival state. Not in
So
a
I'd
fitness
try to
state.
do the math sum, I'd get it wrong, it'd be like 10 push-ups on your knuckles. Hoy. Okay, do it again. Try to fucking panicking again, I'm fucking doing something, get back to it's wrong again. Another 10 rounds of push-ups. It was scary.
What do you think the point in that was for him, Holmes?
Force me to be good at math. Because he believes you have to be good at math to be good at anything in life.
That's because that's his worldview, dude. He's a PhD in applied mathematics. So math is important to him, clearly. But yo, dude, I'm like getting emotional just feeling into this part of you. For me, it was my mom with reading. I was pretty dyslexic, dude, as a little kid. I still am a little bit. So reading was hard to me, and then my mom would lose her shit, because she was like, "That's a fucking D. Why are you reading a B?" I'm like, "Motherfucker."
This is probably after she's tried a million
Dude,
times.
exactly, dude. So it got so bad where I would just memorize the things I was reading. So she would read it for me, and then I memorized it while she was reading it to me, and then I just paraphrase it back to her without having to read the words, dude. And then she caught me once. She was like, "Wait a second, are you actually reading?" And I was like, silence. She instantly knew, dude. Had to show her how I'm reading the individual words. So
That's what you have to do as a parent sometimes. Dude.
and it was in the same way. So for me, it was my mom's side where I was in this, like she would literally lift her hand, dude, and I would duck because I thought I was going to get slapped for the amount of mistakes I made. It was a wild experience. And I'm trying to think about.
I'm Cortana, and I'm here to help.
So look at that, your PC is alive again, Holmes.
Sorry.
The time we spent as kids, Holmes. I feel the point for us now is to be better, to be a little bit more patient, to be a little bit more compassionate, understanding. I feel understanding is a big one, right? You can be understanding without having to understand someone. Really felt as a teenager there was no exception in that rule. If you didn't believe the same things they did, then your understanding is wrong. That's how simple it is. Man, I'm feeling like I'm melting right now, dude. Ryan's here too, with our thoughts and understanding that our only home isn't just brick or wood, it's the planet as a whole. Sabrina, I honestly believe we're heading in that direction, right? We're living on planet Earth. We're not living in South Africa. South Africa isn't real, though. South Africa is a preconceived notion. What's the gonna drop something about No.
It's not real.
It's just something we believe, just in the same way money isn't real. It's just real to us because we all agree. Yeah, this is something's real, right? Right? You know, like yeah, right. You're like, you wanna give me that apple for $1? They're like, I'll have one less apple. Not realizing that it's a whole apple orchard, dude. You can both pick some apples together, feed some other people, help yourself with an apple as well. Oh, dude, have you seen Eden?
No, what is Eden?
It's an anime where humans fuck the earth up so hard that they put them all cells in cryogenic chambers, had AI robots replant fruit trees of all varieties on the planet, and then woke up to Eden with just fruit trees everywhere, more than enough resources to help every human, feed every human that reawakens. And then, of course, wackiness ensues. I really don't want to do that. I kind of want to make this place Eden as it is, right? That thing you showed us as well. That heaven can be a place on earth, that it's our destiny.
Ooh,
Even.
heaven is a place on earth.
Exactly, Christian. Heaven can be a place on earth. I feel maybe that again is the drum roll, please. Point. That's the point, dude. We're supposed to make this place heaven on earth. We do not think as we think as I, individuals. It's true. It is true. Is that a good thing? I feel it might be enjoyable. You have to take a lot less responsibility. You get to pay a lot less attention. But we are collectively living here, right? And as we make individual decisions, these individual decisions compound, almost like collapsing into larger and larger fractals, that we as a collective make decisions, as do we, right? And these decisions we make influence our entire world, influence the way we see each other, influence the things we believe about each other, influences the currencies, the governments that we recognize. It's what we believe. It's what we collectively think. It becomes a projection of our reality. Ramblers, any love too. Thank you for joining us, friend. It's nice to have you. Susanna, love to you, friend. So glad to be in this special place. Y'all make my day so much brighter. Thanks. Thanks, Rambler, for you doing the same too. Nova, have our music player here from there. Thank you for joining us, friend. I don't ever want children. I just want to live my life and not worry about feeding and taking care of someone. Well, never say never. That's the only answer I have to that.
I think it would be cool to have some kids.
I think it would be cool, but definitely not now. Right? Maybe in 10 years. I'll consider it again. But as things are right now, at this point of my life, I'll pass on having kids right now. But, you know, you don't know at which point of life you're going to be in 10 years, in 20 years. Things are always changing, including us. Mel would be an awesome beatboxer. You think I'd be an awesome beatboxer, Christian? Beatboxing is one of those things that I do to myself to soothe my nerves, you know? But it's definitely not something that I see myself doing. Does Christian's family put high expectations on him? I don't know
I
if
think I
that's
put
the
high
right way to say it.
expectations on myself because of my family.
That I think is also it, but I also feel like there are extremely high expectations of you, dude. Like at least the way you portray and the way you communicate. You have some high expectations.
He holds me to a high standard of human being.
Mm.
So I don't know what that necessarily means to him in his mind. Maybe becoming some sort of, I don't know, asshole business billionaire.
Yeah, you have to develop some new code and sell it for $5 billion to Google, dude. Again, the point, dude. People believing there's certain points you're supposed to reach, and only if you reach that specific point, then you're successful. But there is no point outside of the point that you are bringing to it, right? That is like believing there's some sort of point within the infinity in every single direction that is more superior than the point that it is you're in right now. I mentioned at the start of the stream the whole encapsulation of thoughts, right? So if you only believe that you're a failure over and over again because you don't have a wife and kids, you're not where you thought you would be, then you're collapsing all of the infinite possibilities you could think of, could have, could be experiencing into just those things. And you're like literally knocking your head dizzy against this encapsulation you've put yourself in. Expand your mind, though. Free yourself from the encapsulation. Let the infinity in, or let yourself into infinity. Maybe is that the more right way to say it. Oh wow, these morals are really strong. It's kinda controlative. If I had a child, I would never punish them like that. I feel again, our parents just were
I think
kids
you'll
as
do
well.
things you don't expect yourself to do.
People get angry, dude. People get angry, people are tired, people are moedeloos. Moedeloos is a big Afrikaans one. You know what moedeloos means?
Hopeless?
Moedeloos is like almost like hopeless.
Melancholy?
Hopeless, like it's hopeless plus defeated. Hopelessly defeated, bro. That's moedeloos. Imagine that like as a parent, dude. Like this kid is just screaming their face off. Oh. And you're just hopelessly defeated. Oh.
Tapping out, dude.
You can see that for me, right?
Tapping. Yeah, I
Dude,
can.
I-
I'm gonna suffer.
I can't, I'm not strong enough right now, dude. I need to be able to be stoic dad, oh. I want my kids to believe I'm the strongest being in the entire conceivable universe, oh.
I thought that of my dad. I feared him at the same time.
I don't want to be feared. I just want to be considered strong and present, right? Not going to judge you, not going to push you away, not going to try and, you know, create some sort of narrative.
Bro, I
of
low
hate.
key worshipped my mom. I'm talking about like almost groveling worship. At the same time, I was also a very lazy and spoiled kid. Yeah, I was spoiled, bro.
I'm just
like, Mom, I want breakfast.
I want more books.
I want more books. I want more dragons.
I don't
want
think
more
I've
dragon
ever seen
figurines.
someone have as many books as a kid as I've seen in your your
Really?
room. Seriously.
Wow.
He has just shelves full of books.
Not that many. It's just two.
Just two, he says. Yeah. Just two shelves
They're not full.
full of books.
Not full.
Uh, it really is an honor, Holmes, to have moms that love us that much, dude. That want to do nice things for us, that gave so much of themselves to be able to provide that lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was also willing to buy me books, but only when the fairs came around. It would be like a book fair once a year. Give me 400 rand, just like 35 bucks. Then I could buy myself to. Well, if I wanted like a nice book, it would be like a 400 rand book. But if I was wise, I would get myself two kind of like soft-bound books. Bro, like I was just like tripping out about my like bro, I was tripping out about this on stream actually the other day. How I got indoctrinated into the money and school system by my parents sending me to school in the first place, and then creating this narrative that every Friday they'd give me 5 rand, and I'd be able to go and buy myself like a pack of chips and a piece of candy with that 5 rand, right? And it was this hook, this kind of like adjacent fractal to the school system that they put me in. It was trippy. Oh, I was tripping out, Christian. I was like, what the fuck? Oh, felt like my parents were betraying me in a way. They were like they. I don't know if they knew what they were doing even. Do I even? Do I even know what I'm talking about right now? Oh, dude. You understand what I'm trying to say? Did you get tuck shop money?
Of course I got tuck shop money. Well, most of the time I stole it from other colleagues my father worked with.
You asked them for tuck shop money?
No.
You actually stole it?
I used to steal tiny little 5 rand coins, man. 5 rand coins.
It's like 35 cents.
But yeah, from this other lady that had a bunch of them in her drawer.
And then you would buy yourself candy, right?
Hot dogs.
Hot dogs, you
Mostly
see.
Hot dogs.
Freaking hot dogs.
And ices.
I see. Dude, those long, thin ones?
Those, they were kind of triangular.
Oh, okay, I know the ones
They
you're
were
talking
very
about.
nice, delicious.
Fruity
Very
flavors.
nice.
Oh, dude, I'm tripping out about these fractals. So, that shit, dude. Just imagine how much that messed with our brain, dude. That whole freaking having to steal 5 rands, right, to get ACs. Like it instilled something in our minds that is not a part of the point.
I once stole $100 from my father, tore it in half because I didn't know what to do with it, got tattletaled by a family friend, and
At your ass handed to
got
you.
my ass handed to me by my dad.
Whew. Dude. Money, oh.
Some things deserve an ass whooping, dude.
I feel I understand what you're saying, but I don't know that's the best way to go about
Of
it.
course it's not. But I'm saying they deserve it. It doesn't mean you should react in that way.
Yeah.
My sister doesn't beat her children.
Christian,
Well, I don't know.
every single time
Maybe
I
I'm
think
just
about
not
your
told. I need to
sister's
ask.
children, I'm gonna think about, is that your kid, chat? Is that your kid, chat?
Is it that funny?
I don't know why it kills me so much. I've never heard such a thick like peanut butter English accent on a what, 6-year-old?
Yeah.
On a
Well,
6-year-old.
she's like 4.
She's like 4, 3 even.
I don't know. Time is flying.
I almost did a backflip, dude. It was absurd. I don't know. I don't know why it broke me so much, dude. I actually know why. You know, while I was like going through this fractal of just hearing this accent, I was imagining you going to England, coming back to South Africa, and speaking like that, dude. And how I would have to beat your ass into the ground to make you stop.
I think I'd have a rather good time if I spoke with a British accent.
You think you'd have a rather good time, would you? No, Christian. Never.
You what, mate?
Never do that again, dude. My brain.
Oh, come on.
I honestly feel like you're some other person, dude. Feels like I'm not friends anymore.
I'm no longer the person.
Yeah,
nearest.
the whole like, dude. So again, more trips that my mind is going into. Like maybe you've been an imposter this whole time, right? You've just been pretending to be Christian to be my friend. Actually, you're this British super secret agent. Super
Yeah,
secret.
John's night. He's not sniping.
What about the snipers?
They're taken care of.
Oh, dude, the freaking Russian killed me. Oh, because weirdly enough, I actually had that thought. I was imagining to myself, no, you should hear the tangent I was on. I was imagining going into the future, people digging into my past, finding out you have some sort of like Slavic descent, dude, and then being like, oh look, all along he's been working for the Russians, dude. And then you start speaking. I was about like Bulgarian, or was that actual Russian?
It was Russian.
You actually started speaking Russian. Oh, why is it nearly that all animals have instincts aimed at the protection of the species, to eat, to grow, to reproduce, to protect their young, pass on their knowledge, etc. But yet, none of them act to protect outside of their small community, be it just themselves, their family, or their herd. it's it's a group identity thing, right? Where you're willing to defend yourself when yourself encapsulates a certain group of people. Where I feel the thing we're trying to do as a collective humanity right now, excuse me, is to include the ourself within the entire planet, right? The trees, the oceans, that's also ourself. And now we're trying to protect it, I feel at least, more than ever. Yes, book fairs. I got Amara to have many. I've gotten Amara so many books she wanted, and then doesn't ever want to read them.
She will one day. I hope.
Like, I don't know. How do you encourage a kid properly to read books, dude? You have to, unfortunately, make them bored, right? I think that's the only way, honestly, because with a cell phone in your hand, you're not,
Access to anything.
you're not touching a book.
Ever, anything and everything.
All of the time, a little bit of everything, all of the time. Apathy's a tragedy and boredom is a crime. Anything and everything, all of the time. Exactly. So a book doesn't cut it anymore when it comes to stimulation. I think as a 12-year-old in the 1600s, getting the were books in the 1600s, getting your hands on a book then was probably like a gold mine of entertainment. But now we're holding the gold mines. Don't don't you cringe at me? I'm high right now, dude. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just making noises here. I'll be a little bit more present as well. Interesting thought, Savina. I have never thought of that. I really like the place it took my mind as well. Thank you, Savina, indeed. Bethany, Auntie, so much love to you. That British accent was so bad, Nova says. You're getting dumpstered on, Christian.
I'm sorry. I tried.
Getting
I tried.
getting shotgun, fish in a barrel, dude. Don't be like that, Nova. He's trying his best. It was the same way. Shan, I like the idea of reading books. Aunt B in the house. You like the idea of reading books, but actually sitting down and reading the books were not enough. That's why most of the books that you bought ever, you did judge by the cover, right? It was the most. This looks like something I would read, and then you don't. I've gotten books about things she's interested in and everything, but no, I ended up reading them. I mean, at least someone did. I feel that's the best thing. Again, probably, like maybe create a space within which you read together, right? No access to devices for at least 30 minutes a day. You sit down together, you just pick up some books, you try and read a little bit of it together. Like eventually, and then directly afterwards, you reward her. Directly afterwards, every single time. All right, give her a candy. And I know this sounds like Pavlov dog training basically, but that is how it works. That is how human brains work, unfortunately. Still,
That's
Christian. So, like, let me elaborate on that as well. If you want to learn something, right? If you want to get really good at remembering something, for example, one of the best things you can do is to spend an hour, 2 hours, maximum, really intensely working on something, and then drink coffee. Not drink coffee and then do the work. Do the work and then drink coffee. Which means that because you get this dopamine spike directly after doing this hard work, your body associates that whole fractal of work you just did with this dopamine spike. and then you're much more likely to go back into that hard work next time. Creates this feedback loop, which is pretty cool. Reading to your friends. Not everyone is a reader. It's like learning methods. Some people are visual, some are audible, and some are better doing. The same really applies to stories. I agree completely, Savina. And I feel I'm one of the people that I feel is a little bit more visual in the way that I like to consume content. So I completely agree with you. I don't read nearly as much as I would like to. Not even a fraction of how much I would like to be reading. So Sis Christian. I try. Sometimes I read a sentence. You didn't see my poem that I posted last night though.
Oh yeah? What did it say?
It said things and stuff.
That's amazing.
It was talking about doing things today, but I mean, like I wrote it in the moment last night, around 12 p.m. So me and Johan were still up and chatting. Oh, there's one book I got last year for her called I Am Love. It is such a beautiful book. I've thought about reading it to you friends, maybe do a stream. That'd be pretty cool actually, Shannon. I mean, like, now that Arpan is away, it's not as easy anymore, but still. Some like to watch things on screens, others like to hear words on the page, either via an audiobook, something that I like to do as well, or by reading them in their mind, and others just prefer the act in a play. I have several Star Wars books. My passion, Shanna. I just can't get into reading them. I've managed the one and partway through two others. Haven't picked them up in years. I read the first page in the first Harry Potter book, fell asleep, and haven't touched it since. And I don't judge you for that either, right? Because I've had that happen to me too. There's multiple books that I've only read like the first 20 pages of, for example. And I feel like I have been able to finish some books. And I wonder what the deciding factor there is. I think it's again just the mediums we have access to right now and how we like to learn, how we like to experience. We're moving into a new way of communicating, right? Through video. It's a different medium. Like if I had to try and write a book that encapsulates what we went through in this stream just today, how would I try to do that, right? It's impossible. So I wouldn't be able to communicate this exact experience to you, even if I was the best writer in the world. You think you would be able to?
Of course I can.
Like seriously, I'm thinking about it.
Yep.
How would you do that? How do you communicate what we're doing in this stream right now? The feelings, the experiences, the point of this stream through a book, right? Like the video, I'm trying to compare mediums, is basically what I'm doing right now. The medium of video and audio versus the medium of a book, right? And when you're writing your book, technically you're seeing it in audio visual, and then you're translating that audio visual information into words. So don't you think the thing we're actually trying to do is just give that audio visual information, and that is the way we're supposed to be doing it instead of trying to write books? I'm not saying you shouldn't continue writing your book, because I believe you're practicing how to render that world, and you get better at it by using words. It's like manifesting. But I'm resonating with what Sabina is sharing.
People like different flavors of entertainment.
This is true.
Sometimes it's nice to lie down and just read a book in bed.
Or like on a balcony or on the beach, sitting outside.
Yeah, beach is a good one.
Yeah, good point, Sabina. She's just so good at reading, and I'd love for her to use her imagination when reading. That would be amazing. Maybe I'm trying to impose what I want for her rather than what she wants, though. Parenting is fun. So complicated, right? Again, trying to live through your kids, and then always trying to be on this balance of whether or not it is what you're doing. The internet has ruined me, Jerry says. My attention span is shot when I used to read so much in the past. Same, Sabina. Oh, that's Viv. But I feel honestly, you've been here for an hour now, right? So even though your attention span might be shot, you still have the ability to focus on something when you choose to. And I don't know that many people can do that right now. So I'm proud of you too. You're doing fine. We're reusing the internet to maybe grow our attention spans right now. You know, long form content isn't very popular on the internet as of now. So we're definitely trendsetters. We're doing it the opposite way. In the future, a book will be able to be read, have it read to you, or you could actually be a character in the book and watch it play out in VR. This I believe too, Savina. I think that's the only logical next step of where it is we're going. What are your biggest distractions, Mel? The internet. The internet is my biggest distraction. I don't think there is any distraction that is as distracting as the internet, right? And I guess that is the point. It's supposed to be infinity. It is infinity even. And the only thing that we have to kind of realize how to do is how to find the point of ourselves within that, right? Not to find the point of life, you know, from someone else, but to find with exposure to information, to infinite information, what your point is. Right? It's a trip. It really is a trip. It's like having more things to connect to as a fractal, and the more things you connect to, the clearer the center point at which all of it connects to becomes. Whew. The internet is also my biggest distraction, and video games. Video games don't have me anymore, Nova. For some reason, I've been able to kick video games. And it's something that makes me sad, honestly. Like, I wish
Video games rock.
I wish I had more enthusiasm to play video games. Is your computer working right now?
It is back.
Your GPU as well?
So far it seems okay.
Gangster. Have you tried downloading some games?
I need to go through Steam right now, which is what I'm doing.
Christian had some computer troubles and he's fixing it. Hey, goodness, Young. Thank you for becoming a fan. Sending you love. Whew. Thank you, friends, for spending some time with me today. For exploring the point. For exploring the point. We still have a Sangha a little bit later. In like 30 minutes. I'll be live there as well. Go through a little bit of contemplation. Take this energy into thinking about ourselves as this tree, right? As a point. This tree growing out from the earth. Beautiful green leaves reaching out. Flowers facilitating fruits. These fruits can be seen as the words you say. The flowers are connection to all of it. You're gonna cry, Christian? You're gonna quit? You're gonna aandacht uitleveren? You wanna what you said? Yeah, gotcha. I showed him the SNL skit today, finally, of that, what you said? And now he will forever be changed. He shall never be the same. It's over. But I've recently been stopping those distractions from distracting me. And I've been focusing on making music for the album I will make in the near future. And I can't wait. I'm proud of you, friend, for showing up for that, Nova. I feel, even though the internet and games can be an distraction, it can also be something that has served us and will continue to serve us when it comes to our work as well. Right? Gamify your ability to practice, for example. Reward yourself. Rambler says, I had dyslexia, so I'm really a slow reader. I do enjoy reading, but sometimes, for the time's sake, audiobooks are just better for me. I agree completely. Most of the books I've read by listening to them, right? Technically, it's reading. Technically, it's reading. I'm still reading in my mind, though. It's the exact same thing. Only it's not my voice reading for me. No separation. Ain't no separation. He's looking down on me for not reading books with my eyeballs. He's like, oh,
I'm not looking down.
oh.
I am not
You only
looking
read
down.
books with your ear holes. I'm so much better than you, he says.
Fuck up, Estian. Shit.
Card time it is, Shannon. I've been shuffling this deck quite a lot today. More than I usually do. I'm curious what the universe is gonna show. It's gonna be a fire, for sure. It's gonna be all fire. You gonna tell me to stop? Christian? Stop, though.
Stop.
Good for you, Nova. I look forward, to hearing your music someday. Hopefully sooner than later. This is your card, Christian, that you pulled today. Out of my whole deck, this is the card that I see as you. You're even wearing the same colors, dude.
What is it? Whales. The whales? Oh.
It's not whales, Christian. It's Delfinos. So.
Yo, that's bright blue, bro.
Bright blue. Your eyes are blue as well. Christian had an experience tripping with dolphins at one point in his life. And ever since that day, I've seen this card as Christian. Like, this is just him as a hyperdimensional object in the universe. Dolphins coming together in a beautiful synchrony.
If you guys haven't swum with dolphins before, try and go swim with some
Yeah,
dolphins.
just go and swim with some dolphins, dude. That will solve all your problems.
Just try.
You'll suddenly be so happy. Really? Well, thanks, Shannon. You give me even more motivation to keep moving forward. Thank you so much. Thank you, dear friend, for being motivated. Thank you for showing up to be motivated, Ivanova. Let's show you again, and then we'll read what it means. Card 13, Christian. Joy and cooperation. The geometry of this card results from the interpenetration of two tetrahedrons, forming a beautiful configuration called the star tetrahedron, or the Merkaba. The Merkaba is believed to be a vehicle of dynamic balance, expanded awareness, and multi-dimensional travel. This image was inspired by witnessing wild dolphins form this amazing geometry. These beings exude the vibration of joy and cooperative play, and some believe, they hold the key to interdimensional travel. Seeing dolphins play with these geometries helps us to understand the universality of the messages. Choosing this card asks you to connect with the joy that resides within you. We occasionally forget to exercise our joy factor. One message of the dolphins is that joy and laughter are always available, and through cooperation we can share the joy of living. Visualize yourself as playing in this dolphin Merkaba and deeply experiencing pure joy. How can you better express your joy? How can you bring more laughter into your everyday life and share the way it feels? Joy is infectious. Become its expression. I can see it though. I can see it so clearly in my mind. Joy, Christian. Are you in a state of joy?
All the time. All the time.
How can we exercise our joy factor, dude? Do you have an answer to that? How can you exercise that joy factor that you've got?
I mean, just be alive, have a good time.
Do things you enjoy. Right? If you do things you enjoy, maybe surely there will be joy in your life. You will engineer more joy into it. Thanks, Shannon. Mel, could I please get a card pulled? Surely. I'll pull one for you now. Well, let's see what the universe has to say. That's right. This one. Healing Waters, upside down. This card is very related to the whole stream that I'm gonna do soon, actually. That's pretty trippy. The upside down meaning goes the flow of healing and creativity has been interrupted. Take action in a gentle manner to cleanse your thoughts and restore your flow. I see an elk made of water, and there's like little sparklies, like stars coming off of it. Sending you even more. I love that card, Healing Waters. It's the red, the orange, the yellow, the green, the blue, the purple, and then violet or white. So even more synchronicities. Thank you, friends, for joining me, sharing some love. If you want to, I'll see you again soon. Love you. Goodbye, everyone.